Recording. Okay, so welcome to today's session. This is the class number 3 of Geospatial Programming course. So today we're going to discussing about two topics. One is logical operators and another one is loop. So let's get started. So our first topic is logical operator. So in programming language, there are many logical operators, but we will discuss about the basic three operators here. And these are AND, OR, NOT. So these are very common logical operator across all the programming languages. You'll find these logical operators almost every programming languages. Maybe the syntax are different, but the logics are more or less same. So now let's see one by one how this three operator works and how can we get benefited by using these operators. So at first, to understand how the logical operator works, we need to understand truth table and few logics. For example, let me discuss about how OR operator works at first, and then we'll go to AND operator. So for example, you have two logic, one is true, another one is false. So it's not a problem for you, even if it's true or false. So in this case, we'll use the OR operator. Let me give a concrete example by using coding. So to express OR operator, we use these two vertical line. You'll find this on the top of your enter key in your keyboard. So let me try to write some code and then explain you. So for example, let's say we have two names, and the name one is let's say it's my name, and then we have another name 2, and let's say it's Henry. Okay. So now let's think we have a system where we'll take input from the user, and if our user give enter any of these two names, then our login system, our system will say welcome, otherwise it's a sorry. So how can we do that? So at first we need to call the require statement. So we declare a variable prompt, and then we call require, require, and then prompt sync, and then get done. So now we're ready to take input from the user. So let me declare another variable and store the user input inside a variable. I'm gonna giving it a name, user input, and then I'm going to calling the prompt and asking the user enter your name. Okay, so now I want to give access to the user in two cases. The first condition is either the user need to be enter the name 1, or the user need to be the name 2. It's not mandatory that the user need to enter both name at the same time. User can log in by using any of these two names. Okay, so how can I do that? We'll write a logic if user input equal name 1, or user input equal name 2, and then only then we will say welcome message, welcome. Okay, welcome, and then I wanna show the name to the user. Else we'll say sorry, we don't find you. Okay, let me print also the name. The user give input, we don't find. Okay, and then I'll say we don't find the name in our system. Okay, so let me run the code, and then I'm gonna explaining you more. First, let me run it. So write here just node class 3.js. So at first I'm gonna enter Ramis. So you can say you're saying welcome Ramis, and let me enter Henry, Henry. So it's a welcome. Now let's try to enter another arbitrary things, for example, like that. So you can say we don't find blah 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 in our system. So now let me explain you how this code block works. So at first, here you can see the user input will be compared with the first name of our system, and that is Ramiz. So if user input is Ramiz, then from this block, from this line, it will return true, and then we have OR operator, and then user input will be compared again with the name 2, and that is Henry. So even if the name is not matched, the user input is not matched with the name 2, with Henry, it will return false. So we'll have true from this block, from the left operand, and we'll have false in the right operand. So the logic become like true or false. So as we use OR operator, at the final result, it will return as a true. Whenever we'll use OR operator and we'll have a single true value, the whole result will be true. So let's go to the slide again and explain from here. So in case of OR operator, you can see true or false, it will result true. Even if we use here more, for example, we use here more logic, false, false, and say false. Even we can use many more other false, but as you have a single true, the whole result will be true. So let me explain it from truth table. If we see here in the truth table, the first operand is true and the second operand also true, then the result will be true. And if the first operand is true, second operand is false, it will be even true. And then if the first operand is false, second operand true, it will be true. Only in the case when both operands are false, it will be false. So we can say in summary, whenever we'll use OR operator, if we have a only single truth value or true value, the whole result will be turned into true. So I think I can explain it clearly to you. Let me know if you have any question.
Yeah, it's clear, Ramis.
Okay, thank you very much. So now let's try to explain AND operator. So as you have understood OR operator clearly, I think it will be easier for you to understand now AND operator. So let me go to the VS Code again and change something here. So for example, here I'm gonna changing the second name into my second last name. Okay. So now, for example, it's mandatory for the user to enter his or her both name, the first name and the last name. So we want to compare both name by two name in our server. So we don't want to give access to the user if any of the name is mismatched. We want to compare both of the name, and we want to make sure that both of the name we have in our server. So now what can we do? So at first we will take first user input 1, and then I'm going to declaring another variable to take the user another name, and I'm going to change it to user input 2. So now in the first input we will take one name, and then in the second, user input 2, we will take another name. So, and now inside this logic block, if block, we'll compare both name. So at first we are gonna comparing the first name with the name 1, and then we're gonna comparing the second name with the name 2. So we wanna make sure that we'll give access to the user only if both name matched, right? So as we want true value only if we get true value from the both side. So in this case, we need to use AND operator. So I'm gonna deleting OR operator and using AND. So you have to use double AND, and that is the AND logical operator. And now let's try to run the code. Enter your, let's say enter your first name, then let's say here enter your last name. Okay. So let me zip it here. I'm gonna concatenate here by space. Go. And then now let's try to run this code. So it asks to enter the first name. I'm gonna enter in image and second name. Entering there. Okay. Oops. Sorry. User not defined. Okay. So we have got error from here. I don't find. Okay, let me change it to in our system. Put a comma here. Okay, so now let's try to navigate. Control Shift and so now let's preview this. So I'm gonna enter in the first name, each second name, MOKTAD. Okay, you can say welcome, Ramesh Brother. And now let's try to enter the first name correctly and second name in a correct order. So first name is here and second name is something. So now you can see we don't find Ramesh blah blah in our system. That means whenever the both side, I mean the left side and the right side are true, and then only the final result becomes true. And we know that the if block will execute only if we find true value inside the parenthesis. Otherwise, it will go down and it will execute the else block. So now let's go to our slide and try to understand the truth table for the AND operator. So here we can see VR result, and then we say true and false. So the final result will be false. So it's exactly the opposite of the OR operator. In case of OR operator, we saw that whenever we have only a single true value, whenever we have a only single true value, it results true. But in case of AND operator, it's the opposite. Whenever we'll have a single false value, the final result will be false. Now let's try to understand the truth table for AND operator. So let's say the first operand is, yeah, sure, Henry, go on.
We can put more than one condition in the
Yeah, for
like the or no estaba true false no right
yeah.
and
Okay, let me show you.
in this case can okay more
Okay,
than one more than two is okay right
yeah. So okay, let me show you. So let's say we wanna take another input, and that is ID of the user, and we're gonna convert it to number, and then you prompt, for example, enter your ID. Okay, and then we declare here another variable, and that is ID, and that is, let's say, 5, and we change the variable name here, user ID. Okay, so now we have compared already the first two variable, I mean the first name and the last name, and now I want to compare the user ID with the ID 5. Okay, so here I'm going to use again the AND operator, and we're going to compare user ID with the ID we have declared here in our system. So now let's try to run this code again. So let's say first name is Ramesh, second name is there, and then the ID is 5. So you can say welcome, Ramesh. So now let's try to, for example, we enter the first name correctly, last name correctly, and then we enter a wrong ID. For example, we say 7. Okay, so you can see that we don't find Ramesh Muqtadir in our system. That's because the ID doesn't match. The ID that user input doesn't match with the ID which we have in our system. So in the first operand, we got true. In the second operand, we also got true, but when it comes to the last operand, we got false. So as we know that in case of AND operand, whenever you got a false value, the whole conditions will be false. So we know that whenever we find false value inside the parentheses of if block, the code will go down and execute the other blocks. I hope it's totally clear now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I think so far we are done with our logical operator. Actually, okay, we have another thing, and that is not operator. So you already know that we have already used not operator in some cases. So for example, we want to execute something if it's only when it's false, okay? And the not operator can do it when, for example, we'll find here true value, okay, and I wanna put here the exclamatory sign. So whenever under inside this parenthesis we'll get true, it will convert it into false. So let me explain. For example, I give input first name correctly and second name last name correctly, and then try to enter the ID also correctly. But even if I enter all the things correctly, it won't execute the if block. It will go to the else block. Let's see, 5. So you can see that we don't find Ramesh Mukherjee in our system. That's because as I put a exclamatory sign here, this will convert the whole true block into false, okay? And then the code won't execute it anymore. It will go to the else block. So this is how the not operator works. I think I can explain it clearly to you. And here you can see the slide. We put an exclamatory sign before true, and then it will convert it into false, okay? So in our code here, we put a exclamatory sign before the whole logic block. So from this logic block, we'll get true, and then it will convert it into false. Now let's try it again. Now, if we enter all the things wrongly, it will even execute the if block. So now you can say it executed the if block. The reason is inside this block, inside this logic block, the code returned true, but return false, but as we have exclamatory sign here, it converts into true, okay? And then our final input will be true, and then the if block will be executed. Okay, so I hope it's clear now. And now let's go to our second topic of this lecture, and that is loop. So it's very important, and I think you need to learn this topic for any programming language, and more or less the logic are common. So there are many loop in programming language. For example, for loop, while loop, do while loop. We're gonna discussing only for loop here in this lecture, and let's see how the code block works and how the for loop works. At first, let me explain what is loop. So loop is something like it will coming again and again and do the same thing again and again until a certain condition is true or false, okay? Let me explain again. For example, we see here is circle. So it will start from here and it will rounding the circle again and again, again and again until some condition is false, okay? That is how loop works. And let me show you how to write a block for a loop. So for example, here we write a block for loop, and in this code block, let me explain one by one. So at first we'll have a keyword named as for loop, and then we'll have 3 expressions inside the for loop. The first expression 1, 2, and expression 3. So in case of expression 1 will be executed before the for loop start. And usually we take here some variable with some value. For example, we declare a variable, okay, let's go to the code block in VS Code. So
Ramis, could you press Control C to the codec to the code. I wanna take a picture, take a capture
Oh, control.
before.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. One moment, please. One moment.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, one thing to mention here is
Yeah, it's okay.
these
Yeah.
things are not
Oh,
code, okay? Can you see these things are not code? I mean, these things are not code. There is no
yeah,
code after the parentheses, okay?
yeah. See,
Okay,
I got it. I got it.
yeah, okay. So now let's try to write a code for loop. So for example, we declare a variable, let's say I equals 0, and then so we'll have a code block and we'll indicate the code block by using second parenthesis. So we'll have few errors, and I'm going to explain you why the errors is coming. So inside the for loop, we'll have first expression, and in the first expression, we'll actually initiate some variable. So in this case, we initiate a variable I, and the value for the I is 0. And then let's go to the slide again and see what second expression. So in the second expression, there will be a condition. So the loop will be running until this condition becomes false, okay? And then in the third expression, we will have some increment or decrement operator. The loop, once the loop is started, it will go inside and come back come back here, and then it will increase or decrease the value of this variable, and then it will check again the condition, and then it will go inside, and this way it will looping like this way, okay? Have you got it? It will
Yeah.
go inside, and then it will come here, it will increase or decrease the variable value, and then check the condition, and then go inside again, and it will run until the second condition, I mean the condition is false, okay? Now let's see here. So for expression 1, it will be executed before the code block, I mean before the code block of for loop, used for initializing a variable. For example, we can even write the expression 1 before the code block. We can even write the variable var I equals 0 outside the code block, I mean before starting the for block, okay? So now let's go to the second expression. So second expression, what does second expression do? Defines the condition for executing the code block. Loop continues as long as this condition is true. So this is very much important. If we say true here, I mean in the second expression, if we input true, it will be an infinite loop. I'll show you how the infinite loop works. So in this case, we give a condition, this loop will continue until I is less than 10. Once I is greater than 10, thus this loop will stop working. Okay, and then the expression 3, it will be executed after each code block execution. I means after executing this for block, every time the code will come here and increase the value of I by 1. So we can keep here customized value. For example, we can also keep here I equal to I plus 5. So the value will be increased by 5 each time. Okay, so now let's go to our code and explain programmatically how it works. So at first, let me put it as it here. So for example, I want to print the number from 0 to 10. Okay, I want to print all the numbers from 0 to 10 by using loop. So our first condition is I equal to 0. So the loop will go inside at first with the 0 value for I, and then the second expression, in the second expression, we give a condition I less than 10. Okay, so as we wanna print till 10, so we need to say here less equal, and then in our third condition, sorry, maybe I put a space. So third condition, in the third expression, we'll increase the value of I by 1 every time. So now what will we do? We will just console the log. We just want to print the value of I. So now let's print it. So you can say our code execute, our code print the value of number from 0 to 10. 0 to 10, it stops here. So now let me explain it more clearly. So at first, the first expression works whenever we initiate a variable I equals 0. So the value for 0 comes here and the code goes inside, it executed and it prints 0. Okay, it prints 0. as we console and log, we log the console, it prints 0. And then after executing the for block for the first time, it will come back here and increase the value of I by 1, and then it will check the condition. It will check if the value of I is less than 10 yet, okay? And then it will go inside again. So now as the value of I is increased now by 1, so now the value of I is 1. So it will print 1 again, and then it will come back again here in the third expression. It will increase the value of I again by 1. It will be 2 now, and it will check again the condition. So yet it is true, it's not false yet. So it will go inside again, and it will print 2, and then it will come outside. It will increase the value of 2 by 1, and then it will be 3, and then it will check the condition, yet it's true, that's why it will print. So after doing the same thing, after iterating for 10 times, when it comes here, when the value of I is 10, it will come back again in the third expression, and it will increase the value of I by 1, and it will be 11. And then it will come again here to check the condition, and it will find that the value of I is now not anymore less equal than 10. It's now greater than 10. It's 11. So this block, from this expression, it becomes, we get false. Once we get false here, the loop will be broken, and then the code will go down. So this is how the for loop works. So now let me show, even if we declare this variable outside, it will work the same way actually. And now, for example, say I wanna print only the positive number. Sorry, I wanna print only the even numbers from 0 to 10. So what I have done here, at first it will print 0, and then the value of 0 will increase by 2, and then it will come here, compare if it's less equal 10, and then it will go down, and this way it will run until I becomes less equal to 10. Once I becomes 10, then it will come here inside again, and it will see that the value of I increased by 2, and it becomes 12, and then come here again, it will return false. So then the for block will be breaked. The loop will be broken. So let me print here. Let me run the code here, so we can see here 0 to 10. So for example, I don't wanna print the 0. So in this case, I just need to keep here 1, and then this time I need to increase it by 1, as we started from 1. So, oh sorry, I need to put it 2, and then again I need to increase it by 2. Okay, so at first it will print 2, and then it will come here to printing 4, and this way it will run until the value of I becomes 10. So now you can see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so I think the things is clear now. So here you can increase the value of I by any number. You just need to put the number here, and this way we can actually calculate and summarize the sum of any series. For example, if you wanna make the sum of all the numbers from 1 to 100, you can do that by using log loop, and any number, any range of number, you can do that. And I will show you how the infinite loop works. We have few minutes left actually. So let me know if you have any question.
Yeah, actually, the second part will it was be my question. I resolved that. It's okay.
Which part? Can you repeat?
This how to increase, or what about to increase
Oh, okay.
no
Okay, let me
um
again. So for
yeah,
example, I declare the value of I at first 2, okay? So then it will go inside directly at first, okay? At the very beginning, it will go inside directly, and it will print 2, okay? After that, it will come back here in the third expression, okay? And then it will be increased by 2, okay? And then it will check the condition. And then this loop will again and again run again and again this way, okay? Check the condition, go inside, come here, increase the value, check the condition this way, okay? Until it's become
yeah.
more than 10. Okay, so if you want to increase here by 2, by 3, you can just put it 3. Okay, and now so our first value will be 2, and the second value will be 5, third value will be 8. It will go this way. Let me run the code so you can see. Oops, I didn't save it actually, that's why. Okay, so you can see that our first value is 2, second value is 5, and the third value is 8. So when it comes to 8, and then the for block, I mean, when I comes here in the third expression, it increases 8 by 3 and it becomes 11. And whenever it comes here to check the condition, it finds it false. That's why our loop is breaked. Okay, I hope it's clear now.
Yeah, it's clear, James.
Okay, thank you. Now let's see how can we run an infinite loop. For example, in this block, we know that whenever here a false come, the loop is breaked. Okay, so now if I write here just true, so this loop will be true. I mean, whenever the block will come here, it will find true all the time. It will never be false. Okay, could you understand it? For example, it will come here inside the code. It will print true and come here. It will increase the value of 2 by 3 and then come here. So as we don't give any condition here, we directly write the condition true. So it will be true all the time. It will never be false. Okay. And we will show here infinite number. I mean, all the times we will see the number is increased by 3. Okay, let me run the code. I think it will be clear then. So for example, s3.js. So you can see that our code is running and running, running and running. Can you see that? It's running and running, going and going.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah, I
end.
see that.
Yeah, that's because we have put it here true. So it's an infinite loop. Okay, it's an infinite loop. So how can we stop this loop? We just need to click here and then press the Ctrl+C from our keyboard. So it is stopped now. So can you imagine how much we have counted? It's a long number. Okay, so we can see here another thing. If we write here false, FALSE false, you know, and now the code, the loop will be executed only for ons, and it will print only true for ons. Okay, let me run the code again. Oops, you can see that the code doesn't execute because when it's true, I mean the variable I is 2, it comes here and check the condition, it find false. Okay, as it find false, it doesn't go inside the block. Okay, so let me write here something, and then right here I am outside of for block. Okay, so now let's try to run the code again. So now you can see the code block, which is below the for block, is executed, and our for block is not executed. And let's try to put here true again, and we'll see that we'll never see this code block because it will give us an infinite loop, right? So if we put here some condition, for example, I equal 10, 19 maybe, okay, keep it like that and then run it. So now you can see once our for loop is executed successfully and this logic becomes false, and then our code blocks goes down. So our code won't goes down. I mean, it won't come out of for block until the condition become false. It won't execute. It won't do anything under the for block. Okay, I hope it's clear now.
It's clear, Ramis. Thanks.
Okay, now let me show you how can you make sum of few numbers. So for example, we wanna get the sum of all numbers from 1 to 100. So I declare here 1, and then I wanna get the number. I want to run this loop until it's become 100, and I wanna increase the value by 1. Okay, so what will we do now? So we have declared here another variable sum, and now we wanna update the value of sum. We wanna update the sum value by I each time. Okay, so what will happen here? So I'm going to print the, maybe we'll be finished within 2 minutes. I'll give you another link, okay, after 10 minutes or 9 minutes. So let's say what happened here. So at first the value of I is 1, and then it will come here, check the condition, and go inside, so that the condition is true, and it will go inside. And as we declared the value of sum 0, it will add 0 and 1, so the value of the sum will be 1 now. And then it will come outside, increase the value of I by 1, and then check the condition, it will find true, and then it will come here again, and it will add another 1 with the value of sum. So now the value of sum will be 2, new value of sum will be 2, and then the new value of I is also 2. And then it will come here again, increase the value of I1, and check the condition again. So this way it will run, and let me try to run it. Let's see. So you can see 50-50. So this is the summation of all the numbers from 1 to 100. I think it's clear, right? Could you hear me, Henry?
Yeah, yeah. I was taking a screenshot. Yeah, it's clear, Ramis.
Okay, thank you. So we are about to stopping the first session, and then I'm gonna giving you another link in the second session.